Hi everyone, it's Mark. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about selling houses, but not selling houses in terms of a broker who takes a listing and sells someone else's house for a commission. Not even someone who lists their house with a broker and sells it in order to reap the profit they've already made from that house. No, I'm talking about selling every single one of my houses for cash. So what brings me to talk about this today? Well, to understand that, we need to go back a few years into the middle of what I call my accumulation phase. I was very aggressively looking for real estate. I had a few properties under my belt, and I was trying to buy more property. The properties I had were good rentals, but I wasn't quite where I wanted to be. I was still looking for new properties. So I was looking for new strategies as to how to find good deals. And one thing I stumbled on was what I called a title farm. And what you could do at that time was you could go to the title company and give them parameters for properties that you were looking for. And they would go through their database and pull up the names and addresses of the owners. So for example, I would give them zip codes in Glendale, Arizona. I was looking for at least 3 bedrooms, at least 2 baths, at least 12 or 1300 square feet. So that gave me a huge range of properties, but I really wanted to narrow it down. I was looking for motivated sellers, but I couldn't really get a handle on how to find that. The title company couldn't really give me any information on mortgages, so I couldn't, for example, look for owners who were behind in their payments, who were about to be foreclosed on, who hadn't paid their property taxes, those kinds of things. But what I could ask the title company to look for me was owners who had their mailing address not at the property. So their property taxes, their mortgage statements went to a different address, not the property. So that led me to believe that they might not be living in the property. But maybe it was going to a P.O. box, they just didn't want their mail sent to the property, it was going to a second home, that kind of thing. Then the light bulb really clicked. I could have the title company give me a list of all owners who owned properties I was looking for and who lived out of state. That told me for sure that these properties were almost assuredly a rental. The owner was not living there. Maybe they were a second home, but unlikely. This is what I was looking for. So based on this, the title company sent me a big list of properties. Now, in that time, what they did was they actually printed it out on computer paper and mailed it to me. These days, it would either go on a compact disc, or now it might even go by email, or you might just log in and get a link to their website where you could download the data yourself. Also, there are third-party companies who can provide you this info as well. So what I did was I took this big list of property owners and I mailed out a bunch of letters. And what I specifically did was I typed out my letter because my handwriting's not very good, but I did handwrite my return address and the owner's address on the envelope, because most of all, I wanted the envelope to get open. My success rate probably wouldn't be that great, but I knew that if the envelope got open, there was at least a decent chance, since the owner didn't live there. I was hoping they were a retired landlord, there were problems with the property, maybe the tenant wasn't any good, they didn't want to deal with it, it was hard because they were out of state. That's who I was looking to find. And I found 2 of them. So from this mailing, I actually bought 2 properties. They were about a block apart. I still own them today. In the time since then, the properties have tripled in value. So those have been great investments for me. But even better when I tell you that one of the properties I only put 10% down on, and the other property I put 0 down on because it had a completely, fully, freely assumable loan. I just took over the payments. So when you take those 2 factors into consideration, a 10% down payment and a 0% down payment, I actually made 40 times my money. The reason I tell you this is set the stage for what's happening today. I still think that's a great tactic. Obviously, it worked out great for me, so I love it as a buyer. As a property owner, I still get mailings like that as well. I get a few mailings every week, envelopes, postcards, whatever, of people wanting to buy my property. But the situation has changed a little bit. I assume it's because the internet and data is much more freely available. There are data mining companies, so it's easy to find someone. Because what I'm getting now is I'm getting phone calls at home, phone calls on my cell phone, and also texts on my cell phone. The approaches vary. Sometimes they say, I heard you had a property for sale, and when I hear that I go, wow, maybe I should do some investigation because I don't think I have a property for sale. What makes you think I have one? Maybe there's a problem that I need to know about, but I don't know about it. Or they say, hey, I'm a cash buyer. I want to make an offer on your property. I can close quickly. It's all cash. There'll be no closing costs, no problems. We'll take it as is, blah, 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 blah. And then I had one that was actually the most interesting. They just flat out said, would you take $155,000 for your property? That one's very simple, because I could just say, no, of course I wouldn't. What are you thinking about? Now, in terms of the other ones, the way I respond kind of depends on what kind of a mood I'm in. Most of the times I'll just ignore it, or I'll just say no, but sometimes I'll play along, and I don't think they're really very serious. I think most of them are seminar people. They've heard, wow, this is really cool, and they never follow through. I did get one to follow through all the way to a contract. They wrote up a contract. It was an electronic contract, so unfortunately I couldn't even counter. It was a take it or leave it offer at 60% of fair market value. There was no proof of funds. There was no deposit. So that didn't go anywhere, but at least it gave me a frame of reference for what these people are doing. Now, by this point, I've actually had people who've said they want to buy every single house that I own for cash. So the question is, what should I do? Now, these houses are in the greater Phoenix area, and the greater Phoenix area has had a lot of appreciation lately. If you look at the Case-Shiller Index, which comes out once a month, Phoenix is always at or near the top. Typically, it's in a contest with Las Vegas to be 1 or 2 or 3. And last month, Phoenix was #1 in the Case-Shiller Index. Year over year, it increased 9.2%. So I have a lot of really good appreciation that I could get by selling all cash. So I'm asking you, the listener, what should I do? Should I sell all of my properties for cash, take these cash offers, and move to the beach someplace and just go to a place where Americans can go and drink pina coladas? Tell me what you think. Leave me a comment in the comments section and let me know what you think. So thanks again for watching my video. If you haven't already done it, it would really mean a lot to me if you would subscribe and hit the like button, and I'll see you next time.